I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. How about a roll call?
Lois Tiley,
Here.
Diana Coots,
Here.
Christine Newman,
Here.
Richard Horner,
Here.
Jim McPhail,
Here.
Diane Dennis, and Sarah Tiley absent.
We have before you an agenda. Is there any adjustments to the agenda? If not, your motion to accept the agenda or approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. A second.
So approved.
I think we need to say all in favor.
Hmm?
All in favor.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Now. It's good. Announcements. Any announcements? Public comments? I guess not. Moving on. Spicer Engineering Report. No one here tonight? Oh.
Well, good evening. I think you have a copy of my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
You had the pre-bid meeting for the Fulton Street?
We had pre-bid meeting for Fulton Street. There were 5 contractors there.
Oh, okay.
Really no questions. I think we're gonna get some good bids.
Okay,
So I'm
good.
looking forward to getting the bids on the 24th, I believe. We solicited from 6 contractors. One of them declined because they're busy. The other 5 contractors, you know, they're good Saginaw area contractors.
Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, Ithaca Road.
Yep.
Where does that water drain to?
I'm not sure where it drains to. It just goes out to the south, and there's a little ditch back in the woods that goes back through there. Wow.
So
We
like-
haven't investigated where it goes to.
Towards the river?
If you look on GIS, it goes pretty much straight south to the river.
All right. I was just wondering where
Yeah,
that
it's
goes.
a pretty straight line, I think.
Okay.
Any further questions?
I
Nope.
thought your assessment of that was very good.
You're getting off awful easy. You know?
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, if
No, I
that's
liked what we found out and how fast we found it out. That was good
good.
on that.
Okay.
There's nothing else?
Nothing else,
Thank
I
you.
guess, huh?
I'm gonna be excused.
That was an exciting trip, wasn't it?
Thanks, John.
Yep.
Council minutes approval, minutes of February 12th, 2020. Are there any questions, changes, or corrections?
I make a motion, we approve the minutes as presented.
Support?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The minutes of February 24th. Any corrections? Or comments? Or do you hear a motion to accept those?
I make a motion, we approve February 24th minutes of a special meeting.
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. DDA meeting, or the Parks meeting of February 19th. Moving on.
did that one. We approved the, Little League roof, right? Because they approved it and we approved that,
The concessions.
the concession stand. But we did not approve the dugouts, did we?
Not, no.
Okay.
That'll be next week for parks, if they want to consider.
If who wants to consider?
The park board to move forward with that.
All right, if
We
they
were-
move forward it and we decide not to, what happens?
Nothing.
Then it doesn't go.
Correct.
Did everybody see how much those were?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was terrible price.
We sought a,
It's a dugout. Put on some rolled roofing and call it good.
we sought another bid and it was more in line with what we think it is
Okay.
worth and more in line with the concession stand roof. So
Okay,
that's what I'll be bringing forward next week.
all right.
And on the kayak launch, they're talking about over on Lee Street?
They want us to look at that one to see what theirs is like before we make any
Oh, the one that's
decisions.
existing? on-
Correct,
Okay,
correct.
all right.
Is Lee Street the one in the DNR area? Is that Lee Street? No?
No, this is.
Lee Street's in Saginaw,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure where Lee
Yeah,
Street
oh,
was.
I went too.
Oh, okay. That's extensive there, though.
Mm-hmm.
Any further comments on the rec park meeting?
Yeah, Cushion's spelled wrong. Just a,
Where?
at the bottom, it says motion by Cushion.
Oh, yeah, Kuzma.
Yeah.
On these.
Should be an H in there.
Yeah,
Take your motion, accept the minutes for the park meeting.
I make a
I
motion.
thought we just filed.
Support?
We thought, did we just
Just file
file?
them?
Except
Just
for
file them?
file.
Should we do all the committees at the same time?
We sure can, let's do them all.
Let's all do them all then.
When we get to the end of the DDA, right?
Yep. Planning Commission meeting, February 20th. Any questions on that? If not, any questions on the DDA, March 6th? If not,
Little delivery problem there, huh?
Yes. It was found between the seats of the police car.
Okay,
And that will not happen again.
okay.
We apologize for that.
okay. File all the meeting minutes?
We need to, I make a motion that we accept and file
Yep.
the commission meeting, minutes.
Okay,
Second.
so, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Communications.
The first letter you have comes from an email I sent December 10th to the state of Michigan regarding a waiver and our plan submission with over 11 attachments explaining what the village is doing to take care of our unfunded liabilities. And this is the state approving our waiver, which is rare, and I was happy to receive this.
Good for you.
Very good.
Yep. Don't lose that, you might need it.
Someday.
Soon, you never know.
Yeah.
I do have further communications that I will forward tomorrow. Some good news that came in late today from Mr. Campbell about the Joint Water Authority. He sent a letter
Oh,
to Saginaw on March 5th. And today we received that Hartville and Ed, I spoke with Bill Smith today about the water contract. Apparently the letter to the city manager helped the cause. Mr. Smith said that the city is now going over the contract. It has been changed since we last dealt with this several years ago. He asked me if we had any issues with the contract. I told him that we would have to look at the contract first. The issues that we had a number of years ago may or may not exist today. Mr. Smith said that he would be able to get us a contract within about 2 weeks.
oh, good.
For the
So now
next
we can-
meeting then, huh?
So we can move forward. I will forward that on
We needed that to bond anything. So I don't know which pot stirring helped, but we sure stirred a lot of pots this month, so.
Any other communications? I don't know what you're calling communications.
You call the MML magazine communications?
That's just amazing.
I didn't even get the first one.
Okay.
Oh, well.
This one. It might be under that.
Oh,
No. Should've been on top of that.
yeah. sit down
Here.
there. I'll read yours.
Take mine. There you go.
Thank you. Okay. Payment of claims. Any questions on,
I absolutely have no questions this time, so
What?
this is kind of a
Oh,
miracle.
I prepped all day for questions.
yeah.
Are you Bill?
No, I'm not that I think of it.
How about you, Diane? You got anything?
I just have a thing I don't know, ask Jenny or.
Yeah, don't disappoint us.
No. In the past, we had bills paid and then some to be due. These are all paid then. Are you doing it that way now, or?
Yeah, these are
Yeah.
the ones, cause they all have due dates, and if
Yeah.
we don't get it to them by a certain date, then we get penalties or late fees and stuff
Yeah.
like that, so.
Okay, I just wondered, cause I just noticed that and I thought,
We're also at the end of the year, Diane, so it's
Oh.
best to put in whatever you can
yeah,
in this fiscal year.
Yeah,
okay, I make a
Only
motion,
this
we
month.
approve that we paid $89,702.11.
Support?
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Besides, we didn't hardly spend anything.
I know, you
Bills will be
did
paid.
very well. I'm like making these motions now.
Yeah, I know.
I try.
Do a good job.
Moving on to new business. Truth in Taxation, public hearing for fiscal year 2019 to 2020 budget.
By the way, the budget looks beautiful.
I think
You
we
did a
have
good
to,
job.
do we have to do a motion to open up the public hearing?
We do.
I make a motion that we open up the public hearing, for the budget hearing.
Support?
Yes, sir.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried? Any questions?
The only question that I have, which surprisingly enough, I only have one, if we go ahead and approve any sort of monies for the Little League, it does not appear to be in this budget.
And
No, we're not doing the budget, we're doing the
truth and taxation.
truth and taxation,
Right, but that has to do with the budget, right?
I guess.
Because we're not raising taxes.
Truth and taxation has to do with the millage.
Okay, but the millage is not changing, right?
Right.
Okay.
And I can't find it. Where is it? Isn't there like a resolution or something?
Yep, it's on the
So
back.
it's on the back, after page 23.
Back there, I see the fiscal year
Last
budget.
page.
23.
No, I had to look for it too, because I first thought it wasn't in there, but it's right at the back of your
This
book.
It's on the
adopting
last
the-
page, right down at the bottom there.
That's it?
Yep.
Yeah, there are two of them.
Should we read that?
No,
That's the budget.
And then on the top of the next resolution,
don't we amend first and
Yes.
then adopt?
correct. And that's resolution 20-1. Just to
Another
amend
one in the middle.
the 1920,
20-1, 20-2 is to adopt the new budget,
correct.
Page 19.
and now you're saying there's a 20-3 somewhere, or it's
So
just
there's
a?
20-1 is to
Yeah.
amend, and then there's 20-2,
What
Yep,
else did you want to see in there?
and it's on 20-2,
the Headley thing?
Yeah.
Yep,
Did I hide it? Find this one?
above the approved, be it so resolved, this 11th day.
For the last 3 pages. Last 3 pages of the booklet.
Now, if I'm this confused, why? Which, May, we got paid? Ah, I see what you're talking about, this little tiny two-line thing. Got it. I found it.
Section 2.
What were you looking for?
I was looking for a bigger thing with a number on it, not
Okay.
just that.
Alright,
Okay,
okay.
Okay,
so now what? What do you
we
want us
need
to do
a motion for resolution 1, or do we do them both same
No,
time?
we have to
No, you gotta
close the
do them
public
separate.
hearing.
Separately.
I'm gonna make a motion to close the public hearing. And I need-
Support,
Support.
all in favor,
Aye.
opposed,
And now we've gotta open,
Reopen the meeting.
okay. Alright.
need a motion to open the,
Are you sure we don't have to reopen the meeting?
Yeah, yes, we do.
I make a motion, we reopen the regular meeting.
support,
Yes.
all those in favor,
Aye.
opposed, carried,
So now we need a,
No, now we need to go back to amend the budget.
yeah, we gotta make a resolution to amend
To amend first and then to
20
adopt.
20
And when we adopt, we'll
one,
pick
right?
up that automatically.
And then that's
Right.
separate from 20 dash.
Correct.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
We're amending last
any more
year.
talk on it? Are we set? On the 20 dash one? So I'll make a motion that we, adopt, resolution 20 1 to amend the 2019-20 fiscal year budget.
support,
I'll support.
roll call,
Okay. Lois Tiley,
Yes.
Diana Coots,
Yes,
Christine Newman,
Yes.
Richard Horner,
yes,
Jim McPhail,
Yes.
Diane Dennis,
Yes.
and Sarah Tiley is absent.
now we have resolution 20-2,
Ask that question now about the question.
ask that question now about the park, okay.
General Fund 101, Parks and Rec Fund, Department 691,
Okay, where are we seeing this?
Back at the
page
beginning.
6, capital outlay.
Parks and Recreation, okay?
At the bottom.
Okay, the capital outlay,
Correct.
and that wouldn't cover that amount that they're requesting, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Hence, we
since
thought
we
other,
can't do it if it's not in the
Well, we
budget.
can do it.
If
You
we amend
you
the
amend the
budget.
budget again.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, that answers my question, cause I couldn't find it in there in the place, okay?
In fact, as long as we're talking about it, if we approved the roof of the, that would be in the 10,000,
Mhm.
though, wasn't it? That was under that, okay.
Alright.
any other questions?
I make a motion, we adopt resolution 20-2 to adopt the 2020-21 fiscal year budget.
Support,
I'll support.
roll call,
Lois Tiley,
Yes.
Diana Coots,
Yes,
Christine Newman,
Yes.
Richard Horner,
yes,
Jim McPhail,
Yes.
Diane Dennis,
Yes.
Sarah Tiley is absent.
carried,
Good job. Easy to find things. I'll
Yeah.
probably never look at it.
even easy to read.
Leave it here.
Let's see, we're down to the capital improvement plan, updated,
yes, so I made updates for the planning committee to review, based on this year's budget. Changed the numbers from the projected from last year's capital improvement plan to input our numbers for things such as the concession stand, sidewalks. I to not budget for tasers for the police department this year. We're looking at, I think we've had ours for about 5 years, maybe, and the batteries are kinda going bad, and so we're looking at either getting new batteries or trading in our current, and so I would move that to, possibly next year. So changes of that nature, things that, the previous administration had put in, I either took out or amended to fit our budget this year. There were some formatting errors, as it was in Adobe, and I had to get a application or a login password to get into that, so try to make it as nice and neat as possible.
We really do need a new copier.
You just approved us to get one, so I thank you.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's bad.
Are there any questions on this improvement plan? Besides what he has spoke on?
I'm good.
Do we need a motion to approve this now, or are you gonna send it back to the planning commission and then come back with it, or how's that gonna work?
Well, you said you sent it to the plan,
We did.
don't we have to wait?
Yeah, we recommended it with the changes, with necessary
Correct.
changes, so just so everybody knows.
Yep.
Okay, approve,
You can
before
just
the
get a
changes are
copy.
put in there.
Once it's approved, you can get
Right.
a copy. You don't think it needs to go back?
Doesn't need to go back,
I don't
okay.
think it needs to go back to them, no.
No, I did find a dash where it doesn't belong, but I can clean that up.
Yeah,
In that case,
So we just need a motion?
need a motion.
Make the motion to approve the capital improvement plan for 2019-20 -2024-25.
Support?
Yes, sir.
Do we need a roll call on that one?
Don't think so in the,
There's no signature.
I see there wasn't none on it,
yeah,
so.
there's not a signature line
Okay.
anywhere.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's carried. Employment agreement evaluation.
Do you wanna do that publicly, or do you wanna go into closed session for that?
We can finish this out.
Hmm?
We can finish out.
We'll
the
finish
two
the
things that
meeting,
are
and
left.
we'll finish the meeting, and if they want a closed session,
Well, that's.
I'd have to request it, and if you're more comfortable in a closed session, I'd be happy to.
No,
No,
request
no,
it.
if you're more
Okay.
comfortable,
I'm
how do you want it?
I'm okay in public.
Okay,
for now.
Okay,
so that everybody knows what we're doing, we're evaluating Mr. Ollie right now. So. Generally, what we would do in the past, this would have gone to the personnel committee, and we would have tabulated your numbers, so that we came out with an average number for each of these items, so you would work from that. We don't have the time, we didn't have the time to do it this year, so what, you're laughing.
no, I'm wondering, how are we gonna do this? You all gonna
Without
just shout out our
tabulating.
numbers, or what's gonna happen here?
I don't know, we could all tell him,
this is a new
this is a
stride
new
here.
thing. I think maybe we could each say, kind of summarize how it is that we filled out our evaluation forms,
I don't even have a form.
and if we thought if there's
You don't
a,
have a form? You didn't take it home last time?
I didn't get one.
Yeah, you did,
Yeah, you did. They
everybody
gave it
got
to
one.
us.
they gave it to us at the meeting.
I
At the end
Read
of
it in
that
my
workshop.
packet,
I didn't see it.
read it in the meeting.
No, after the meeting, I stuck everything in that.
It's laying right there.
Oh, thank you.
And here it is.
Huh?
Well,
Well,
you
you
can
don't
fill in
have
your numbers and shout them out as we go along.
Yeah.
I'm saying it.
And we could table this and bring it up next month and tabulate as well if you'd like.
But you
The
said-
contract does say in March.
That's
Yeah,
so
let's
hard,
just
so
do
we
it.
can do
Okay,
something
I'm fine.
probably now, I think, off
I'd
the
rather
cuff.
not do it.
Like you said.
If you'd like to go private, we can go private.
No, it's not us, it's you.
Yeah, it's you.
And I'm fine with it, I don't care either.
Yeah, I don't care either, so.
Well, I'd say if we're gonna do it publicly, let's, just go down the table, everybody on each item, and there's only
What do you think?
So we're gonna
this
think about
many,
what?
you can add them up and
I like-
average them.
I think he's doing a great job.
What
What do
would
you
you
think?
like to see him improve in?
I really don't know.
Okay,
I really don't know, I think the man's doing a good job.
Okay. Go ahead, Diane, give it to him.
You
Well,
got
you
very-
asked for this.
You got very high marks for me, and anything that was, lower than a 5, it's because it's just too early to have the information yet. Because I thought, geez, I don't know, and as far as I know, so there are a couple 3s I gave you some 4s, but mostly 5. The only thing that I would like to see you relax. I've told you this before, right? I always think that we're getting, when we get our text messages, that you're going, I mean, I know many of us made comments to you about poor communication in the past, right? But I think you're excellent with that, and I trust you, so I want you to relax and also find some enjoyment here, okay? I mean, that's my point. I like you, I'm very pleased with you, so I would give you an overall very high evaluation.
I gave you mostly 4s, because I don't believe in giving 5s after 6 months, I just don't do it. But I did give you, a 5 in being available to us. I gave you, a suggestion in the relationships with village president and village council. I think the written things that come out to us in email, it would benefit you to have either Jenny or Marguerite read it before you send it to us. A few of the things seem to be a little scattered, and we don't get all of the information. You can read it on here, but, I think if they would read it first and they have a question, we probably would have the same question. So that we're getting a bigger picture. If you think it's important enough to tell us, I would like all of it.
Okay.
Not just bits and pieces. That was, one of the few things that, under relationship with employees, I just wanted to make sure that you're keeping a written log of any, not of all your conversations with the employees, that's not what I'm talking about, but if you would happen to bring somebody in and discuss something you would like them to do differently, I wanna make sure you're writing that down and sticking it in their file and dating it. Okay?
We used to keep it in a personnel file when I worked for her dad. He kept a Bible, we called it Bible. We kept a Bible on each employee, and I know he had one on me.
I think
But-
he had quite a bit on Ken.
Yeah, Ken wrote the whole Bible.
And then,
But,
oh, go ahead.
But I think that's real important also, if you need to go back for disciplinary action, you've got grounds to go back on. They may be performing good now, but you never know, they may mess up, you might wanna.
Well, they can't be your best friends, okay? Cause you may have to discipline them at a later date. Intergovernmental relations, this is where I think you are lacking. You need to get out to those meetings, you need to meet all of those people around here, know them on a first name basis. And then when you need things like the bonding, you can really rabble rouse and, get things done. So go to those meetings, know those people, that's important. And you need to, I would also like you to go to the meetings around town, like do you do the Lions Club and all that stuff?
I'm not.
I think you should do that. You could even think about joining the Lions Club. They're the one other group
They
in
meet for
town.
lunch, don't they?
They meet for lunch.
Yeah.
And, they're the one other group in town that, and there's that little church group, but I don't think he needs to belong to it, but get to know them over,
Well, they would be nice just because they're very
do you know,
active.
over, by the doctor's office.
Yep.
That church, they have that little group that
Oh, the Baptists.
does, are they Baptist? I-
No.
The one right behind the bank?
No, that's a
No,
Lutheran.
no, it's a
Or the
Lutheran,
vet- or
the
the other-
Lutheran church.
Oh,
Up
up
by-
that, the other
up
doctor
by Hurley
office.
Heath, yeah.
Okay, that's in Tiverton.
Yep. Financial management, I think you do a great job. I want you to be more aware of anticipating future needs. I know you're doing a lot of stuff right now, and I get confused as to what are the things that were already here and you're taking care of, and which ones are new ones that you're innovating. So, it's too early to tell how that's going, but, And you got a 5 for, energetic and willing to spend the time necessary to do a good job and get the job done well. I gave you a 5 there, and I gave you a 5 on enthusiastic, cooperative, interested, and flexible. So yeah, and I've got a little, synopsis for you at the end, okay? But I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
I think we should give these to him.
I am,
Yeah.
I signed
Yeah,
mine.
meeting. Okay, yeah, I did mine too, so you wanna pass yours? Oh,
I
you
pretty
didn't
well
get one.
agree, I pretty well agree with Chris, on most of the things, maybe not all, but pretty close, they're about the same thing, I'm about all fours. Fours, I got 3 in here, but I'm not gonna mention it, you can look
Yeah,
at it.
You can look at it, yeah. The
Um,
3's not terrible, the
No.
3 is average.
Yeah. That was just something that struck me, I don't know. Anyway, other than that, about all the same. It's your turn.
I would have a hard time giving you anything less than a 4. I think right out of the gate, you've been fantastic. You've answered every question I've emailed or asked you. I mean, even if I ask you, call you, you have something for me within a couple days. Even if it's just, I'm still checking. I have heard no complaints around town, not a single one. I think you're doing a great job. I would say 4s and 5s. And until you prove wrong, I would say you're high marks. I mean, it's early, but I think you're doing a fantastic job.
Done.
I'm done.
I think you're doing a very good job on relationship with the village president and council. I give you very high marks. Everything seems to be running very smoothly. Everybody knows what everybody's doing, and the communication is excellent. So very high marks there. Relationship with employees, that's always hard to judge. Every time I come in, things seem running smoothly and wonderful, but not being here every day, I know you do a lot of things, and we don't need to know all those little details, but I think that's very good also. I did jot some notes here that you can read on your own, but I gave you high marks there also. Public relations, excellent. Ran into a lady the other day and she said, I met the new manager last week, and she was very pleased and had wonderful remarks to say. I hear that all the time, and that's nice to go to town and hear those things. So, one area that disputes and complaints can be very difficult. I imagine that would be a tough part of the job, and I think you do a good job solving or working through these difficulties. I know it's not easy, but I think you do your best on trying to get through it in a fair way. So, good marks there also. Intergovernmental relations, that's good. I don't know a lot about that, but I do think if you get into, like Chris said, the Lions Club, they can give you information and help with things too. Financial management, excellent. Thank you for that budget meeting you had. It's hard for me to understand that. Chris, she knows it all. She's been there, done that. But for you to spend the time to help us clarify things and answer our questions, I really appreciated that. So good marks there also. Let's see what else I got
You sound like you were a teacher.
here. That's a good report card. Yeah.
Maybe.
Organizational management, yeah, it was. And follow through. On the number 1 and the number 3, I like how you work with Spicer and the DPW. I like how you listen to other people. There's, like I said before, a few people here that have a lot of knowledge, and I think the more knowledge and input, you get the best result. So I really like how you're open with ideas and you listen. And then, well, you have good ideas also, but, thank you for doing that. Personal characteristics, very high. I feel very comfortable if I had a question, going to you and asking it, and I know you'll explain or clear up my question. So that was good too. Then I have a summary. I just pointed out that we're living in tough times with our roads and our water and our sewer and all the money it's gonna cost. And I'm sure people will complain. I guess we just gotta do the best that we can do. So, that's it for me, very good.
One thing I didn't mention, I'm very impressed with the fact that you answered the telephone sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, I mean, that, to me, that's the mark of, a really good administrator. That,
I have
not
no-
all the time, but you know, I mean, that sometimes when I call down here, you answer the phone and I like that. So
I
that's
think
an
he-
accessibility that's.
I think he knows my number and he grabs it.
I do
Because
too.
he's the only person that's answered my phone call.
Yeah.
Somebody hollers out, "It's Chris again."
Yeah.
I think that's good
Again.
too.
Diane, put those, here's the rest of them. Oh, you
Yep, got 'em.
I think I got them all to you.
So
Okay,
if we,
thank
if
you.
we, if we would have to put an overall picture on that, I think you're doing very well.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, I'm trying, and it is new, and when I came in, compared to where we are now, compared to more reactionary versus creating, now is the time to create rather than
Mhm.
react, so. I appreciate
I
your
agree.
honesty.
That doesn't mean you can take tomorrow off.
I'll be here, beautification day, meeting 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
Oh,
unless
yeah,
he's sick,
that's right.
unless he's sick, stays home.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Parks and Commission, Parks Commission, the C and M contractors bid, if you didn't notice it before.
Oh, I noticed that.
Yeah.
Oh, I noticed that.
I
So,
noticed that myself.
this is the concession stand, just the roof, not the dugouts. So the park commission approved $2,538.
Why does it say 3,500?
He later called to say he forgot to add his labor. And would ask for $1,400, and I said, that's, I don't think that's fair. We agreed upon this number, but at the same time, I do think you could do the job well. You are within the budget that I allotted for this. So he said, well, I'll take $400 off of that. I said, well, that's good. And so, here I'd like to approve that amount, which is an additional $1,000 for his labor. And he is working in town, and I think he can have this done in a couple days.
So that's like.
It still looks fair though. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought the 2 was a little low.
If you,
but-
if you recall, the others were 8 to 10,000.
Well, it's 5,000 for a dugout roof.
Yeah, that sounded crazy.
Yeah, that's,
Do you know, did they,
So-
apply for money from the haunted house? We encouraged them to do that too, they used to.
The park?
I believe so.
The baseball people.
Oh, the
believe
baseball
they did.
people, okay.
I wonder if they got anything.
Yeah, and they'll be, I don't know if they received anything, but they'll be back next week to talk other things, and, I did see Kelly at the basketball game last week, and we did discuss on dugouts, maybe going 50-50 on them, or some kind of partnership where the village isn't paying for everything, and maybe those are the dollars that she has, so.
They used to come to our parks meeting. They have fundraisers that raise a lot of money, but they say they use it all in uniforms and things, but I think they should also contribute, so,
I agree with you, Diane.
Well,
yeah.
I agree.
it's-
keep
that's-
in mind,
that's a
once we
lot.
pick up something we've never paid for before, it's gonna belong to
No,
us.
we've
That's
never paid
always,
anything.
You know, so
Forever.
I don't
This
mind
is
taking care of the
concession stand,
concession
right.
stand
We've
because
got
we put
diamond
stuff in
dust,
there
I
too.
think,
Yeah.
but not
Don't we put stuff in
tons of
that
money.
building
Yeah.
too, or not
Not
anymore?
so much anymore,
They'll
Okay.
they
do
have so
diamond
much.
dust this year.
Okay,
But we could.
Okay.
But I'd like to leave it
This
just
is
for
gonna be a good
concession
partnership
If they
going
quit
forward.
using it,
We need to go
it would be-
50/50
Yeah.
on some of these
At
things,
this
so.
point, they store all their materials.
Okay.
The few years they
So
used
we
to come
need
to our
some
park,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, the few years they used to come to our park meetings, they didn't bother with applying to the haunted house, and we said, do that.
So do we need to take any action on this bid then?
I would, you could
For the
approve
correction?
up to that total amount, or you could add an additional $1,000, however you'd like to do it, if you were.
The
so
3538?
Correct.
And then we have to add an additional $1,000.
No, no, that
No,
is.
that's-
That's
it.
the total.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Got me confused there for a minute.
Okay.
Sorry.
So we need a motion to amend that up to 3538.
Well, I make a motion that we approve the 3538 for the concession roof, not for anything else over there.
Correct.
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will be carried.
Then he can get started on that whenever the weather gets good.
Breaks, yeah.
Well, after March.
Do
Or
you
is-
know how many weeks that's
After
used
April.
in the summer? Is it all summer, or is it?
I sent out an email, I
Yes, it
think
is.
it's,
I don't
is it
understand.
May to
That's so
June?
cheap in the dugout.
So it's,
I mean,
That's not a lot of weeks for a lot
That's what
of.
said tar paper.
Right.
He must have remembered
Um,
his label.
that said, we can use it
And both of them.
ourselves for fundraisers as well, or movie night in the park, things
I
like that.
you know,
I think it's May to, in the May to end.
Yeah,
They said we-
I was meaning the
It's 2
dugouts.
months. Oh, the dugouts?
Yeah.
I think 2 months.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't mind.
we went through this with the pool too,
Yeah.
10 weeks and
Yeah.
$35,000.
Terrible amount of money to me.
Could've kept the pool.
There's gotta be a cheap way to fix it.
Maybe one more communication from Mr. Profit.
This is, so Rob Kehoe, as you may know, is, adding other jobs, other townships, and he's looking to move into Genesee County mostly. He said he would stay here, as long as he could. Mr. Crowfoot expressed interest, he is the dangerous buildings inspector for the city of Saginaw. Rob really does not want to work on Mondays, he wants to be Thursday only. And suggested, Scott came to us and I went through his resume that I
Is that
applied for you.
Is that Scott?
Yeah, Scott.
Behind the podium?
Oh,
And so
would you,
he's here, if you'd like to ask him any questions, I
Hi,
think,
Scott.
I'd like
Are
to, s-
you who I think you are?
Who's your dad?
Dave Crowfoot was my father.
Okay.
okay, sorry.
so I'd like to get your approval to start working Scott in on Mondays, learning a little bit from Rob, taking what he knows from his career at City of Saginaw, and slowly put Scott in that role of building inspector for the village. He has, what is the year's experience at Saginaw? You've been there for
Yes, we have.
26 years. So he's looking to add townships, villages, and kind of right off in the sunset from the city and start working this way, so. I was hoping that if you had any questions on his resume, to ask him here.
I have one of you
Okay.
first. Is he also gonna be acting as a code enforcer?
Yes,
And you're willing to do that,
Yes, sir.
sir?
Yeah, I think if
Getting
he,
a lot of that tonight.
if he was in Saginaw, I think he ought to be able to handle that.
Oh, I think he can handle it, I just wanted to make sure you wanted to do it.
I don't have a
We've had
problem.
issues
I'm all for
before.
it, yeah.
I'm all
It'd be
for it.
great.
I'm for it too.
Yep.
I'm out.
I'm all for it.
Need a motion or something to
I
move
don't
this
think so,
forward?
because he
No?
hires fired.
You have our blessing.
I really
That's all
like
I-
it that you came to us for the hiring, though. That's
That's nice.
nice. And thank you for coming.
Thank you.
we'll work on that.
I remember him when he was a lot smaller.
Yeah, about this big.
Yeah.
The reason we had to, yeah, we knew your dad, and so that was just why.
Well, he knows I worked with his dad for years, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
you did a good job for our
I
village.
drink with this dude.
I bet you did, yes.
That's how old we are, we remember.
Sorry.
Except for Jim.
Yeah.
He's a young one.
Just a puppy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hope you have a good experience.
Yeah.
Department reports, DPW report.
You know, I
Hi,
know
Don.
you did a lot more than this
Any
personally, but,
questions, comments?
yeah, no, I know that you did
Is
a
there
lot
any
more than
questions,
is on
comments, or
here.
concerns?
Yeah, I got that comment, okay?
I hear one talking.
What? I did.
Nothing, nothing. Anyone have any questions of, Don on this DPW report?
Nothing new?
No, we're just pretty much getting ready for spring now that winter's ended. We had, got the sweep route today and got that run a little bit.
I saw that
And
going
working
down
on
the
the
bridge.
park and.
Oh, yeah, the manhole cover down in the corner of Hosmer by the bank, that was tack welded, that's broke loose.
Was it Hosmer and what?
It's Hosmer and Saginaw,
Saginaw?
yeah, it's the one right in the middle of the road.
Okay.
I think Tito had put a tack on it last year, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a mild winter, thank God. It's-
Yeah.
So far.
What do you do with the dead deer when you remove it? I just had that question.
We take them out to the lagoons and let Mother Nature take place.
It doesn't have to go to the DNR
No.
or anything.
Oh,
They don't want nothing to
They
do with
want
it,
nothing to
right?
do
They
with it.
won't take it at
They're
all.
not their deer.
Only when you hunt them, they're there.
Oh, I see. Okay.
No, actually, the few that we've taken out there, the bald eagles have been,
Have they?
They're good.
Well, that's good.
I think that's nice.
Yeah, I do too.
Wonderful.
We'll keep feeding them so they stay here.
it's a cycle of life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Police department report. Anyone have any
Doing a good
questions?
job.
Or are we gonna
It
get
was a
to
light
again?
winter.
I just have to stand up, I sit too often, so I apologize.
Does anyone have any questions of Officer Church? Chief Church?
Huh? I think you're doing a good job,
I do too.
Just a couple
thanks for
things,
stepping up.
absolutely my pleasure. So, I think in doing that, I've been in pretty good communication with Chief, and, there's just a couple things happening I quick wanna share with you guys. We really need to begin to create a community-oriented police department, and that's kind of the way we're heading. And so some of the things we've done in the last, actually since the last time we talked is, we've gone to the school, and I get to the school once a week or so now, and just kind of touch and base. So they've been getting a lot of questions, why are the police there, why are the police there? So I wanted you guys to be aware that we're getting there once a week, just to connect with people, talk to people, so when people start asking you, if you start hearing, why are there cops there all the time? We're just kind of prepping the kids and prepping the community to see potentially an officer there every day, or 3, 4, depending on how that works out. So is, and the principal today said, oh my gosh, you didn't bring your cop card, did you? And I'm like, no, why? And he goes, because people are asking questions. And I said, okay. So we're trying to work that transition, and it's pretty interesting to see people just panic about that. I stopped into the high school today and spoke with the art teacher about possibly having the students paint a mural on the back wall in the police department. We have some people that will pay for the supplies. We got the okay to let them come in and spend some time doing that. We wanna build that relationship with them, and we want them to take some ownership in the police department as well. And we feel like those types of things are what we're gonna try and accomplish. So tomorrow I'm gonna go make a presentation to the senior advanced art class. Say, hey, this is what you got for space, and these are the things that we do in law enforcement besides shoot people and chase people down and give them tickets. So to give them, so they're gonna give us some ideas of what they might put on a mural. So we'll have some, ideas of what these kids would think would be cool. So, I'm excited to see what their creative ideas are, and then we'll see what happens from there. I'm also gonna meet, with the American Legion this week. We're beginning to do some of those things that, build community. We need to be in contact with those, places that when we contact people that need help, we can give them a resource. Because we don't necessarily have all the answers, but, even in the last week, I can tell you, I've had to connect some kids and some families with some resources. And so we have to have those relationships to do that as well. So we're moving in that direction as well. It's happened in the last couple of weeks. I'm with Chris, was it Chris that said, maybe
Yep.
Lois, that February is pot stirring month, or pot stirring month here too as well. So, and, I love that, I appreciate that I can come in and talk to you guys. I am all about communication. He'll tell you I probably bug him every other day. every day. I think we text every other day. We just gotta be, we gotta communicate, and we're trying to open that up. We're gonna have our first staff meeting probably in several years, and then department, because we need to start communicating and succeeding as a department. We're each individually responsible, but boy, that's really been a big push, so those things are happening for us as well, so. That's it on my part. Any questions, comments from you guys?
I like the idea with the students. That's building bridges right
I
there.
do too.
That'll open up a lot of doors.
Yeah, and when you get kids communicate and become part of that, boy, it just
Mhm.
opens up parents will communicate, and that just opens us up to be able to
Such a
touch
great
base.
idea.
I did that.
Yeah.
Well, and so is any kind of a resource, like even Jane up at the school that has the separate fund for the kids and you need to figure out all of those things so that they're on your fingertips when you need them.
I met with her this last week, and we had, I can't even tell you the conversation that we had, probably a couple hours long. So, being able to step in, they are really in need of some assistance. And so, getting somebody in there to come alongside the school is gonna be, just a wonderful opportunity. So, yep, so great to have good contact with her, and those are the things. that
You
we
might even
understand.
wanna reach out to the Lions Club. I mean, they have, things that are available to help people, and they love to have people come to their meetings and give a talk.
Yep, that's what I'm.
And they're at noon,
Yep.
they meet at noon, so.
Oh, do we? Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I'll definitely contact with them, I wanna
I don't even
contact
know
with
who's
them.
in charge of them anymore. Do you know?
Do they meet at the library?
I don't know, they used to meet at the Methodist Church.
No, not for about a year.
Okay,
I thought
And
they met at Rustic now.
They used to meet uptown at the Rustic for lunch,
They
but I
used to
don't know.
go from place to place, and then it's been the library.
okay. Who feeds them?
And I thought,
So
I have
who's a
no
contact
idea.
point for me, guys?
Yeah, I'm
don't
trying to
know.
think.
I know
Um,
Jim
Okay,
Stick's there.
well, I'll
and
ask
so-
around, because usually the American Legion guys all
Is it
know who
Mr.
all the Lions
Robichaud?
guys are.
They will.
So,
A
yeah,
lot of
so-
them.
Yeah, so I'll bounce
Yeah,
around.
find out where they
Find
meet
those
now
out.
and stuff, because
Yeah.
I used to go speak to them once a year and,
Okay.
Yeah,
you could do
it's-
the
Let's
same.
just have
Yeah,
a-
and
No, I know the librarian knows they meet there.
the librarian does, perfect, so
Yeah,
I'll touch
and
base with
I
her.
was thinking they meet at night too. A day one, a night one, well, they know.
Gotcha, yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll
They
chat
know,
with her, and
they
she'll
know.
be able to move me in that direction, so absolutely something that we wanna see moving, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Such a good job you do.
Building inspector report. Five transactions. See how good a salesman you are. Anybody got any question on those 5 items?
This seems to be our biggest order this year.
If not, we're back to public comment again. Anybody want to speak, say something? 3 minutes. Well, it may.
I know how you feel.
And code enforcement, I think people can hear me.
Well, we'd like to see you at the podium though.
This code enforcement, that's fine, I have nothing against that. But at the same time, is this code enforcement gonna be to generate money for the village?
That's gonna be what? I'm sorry.
Generate money
Generate.
for the village by running around and seeing how many violations there are.
No, they'll probably do it the same.
I imagine everybody in the community has got some sort of violation of a code or an ordinance. And I think unless it's really hurting somebody one way or another, that we're a small community, we have to live together. So by going around and picking out different areas and picking things where this is happening here and this is happening there, I think we need to have complaints. And a lot of different things before you start enforcing a code. Also, I think we need on some of the codes or ordinances, such as blight, I think we need to have a better definition of what blight is than what we have here. Now, you go down Saginaw, many areas of Saginaw. This area here looks like a operating room at a hospital. It's so clean and neat compared to what they have down in Saginaw. To me, blunt is blunt. But when you take a Lamborghini car sitting over here, and a 50 Chevy sitting over here, on tires, with windows, hood and front closed, no license plate on this, and no license plate on this, this is blunt. This isn't, because it's a $200,000 car. So I think when you talk about blunt and have violences against a code of blunt, I think you better come up with a little bit better definition of what blunt is. How can things like this be blunt here? Saturday, you got garbage laying over the streets, grass that ain't cut, trees that are falling down, abandoned vehicles, no windows, tires gone, and everything else. That isn't blunt. So this is why I got nothing against on the somebody taking care of the ordinances and the codes, but don't go looking for trouble.
The way things have been done in the past, and we've never talked about changing it, and that is enforcement by complaint. That's the way it's been done for, 20 years or better, back before you were in there.
But at the same time, Sam Foreman, if you got a complaint about something,
That's before the 20 years.
he would go out and talk to the person, say, hey, here's what we have here, we have a problem, what can we do to settle this?
Yes.
Instead of just going out.
I agree with you there. And I think, I would like to see this still be carried on that way, where we take and negotiate. No, not just throw tickets out. I don't think that
And I don't think
is
we
totally.
do.
I think we do, we try to work with them.
Yeah, I think we're working.
We
with them
did,
first.
there was a few times in the last past that didn't happen though.
Well, but he worked it different,
Yes.
so.
No,
He was
there
he was
it was a
flying under a
problem
different
in the
flag,
past,
but-
it was a problem in the past.
But I think it's gonna
But
be
in
the way it used to
further
be,
past,
where
it was
It
fine.
was fine.
Yeah.
where the inspector will talk to you, I'm sure, before he's gonna send you a ticket or a letter of kicking you out.
I think that's what it should be.
I'm sure that's probably gonna be, anyway, we'll try to keep it that way as long as I'm around here.
Mr. Croker, the procedure was always, I've been on that planning commission for a long time, is first the inspector would go out and talk to the people. And if he couldn't get any compliance, he would write them the letter that said so many days before he wrote a ticket. And we were in a situation, in a couple different situations where a ticket was issued, or they would tag a house, and people wouldn't, so people were livid. I mean, they were furious. Here they have this situation going on that's already beyond their control. So I think that we'd like to see it go back towards the process again. And you're a St. Charles boy, so you should know people here, right?
I'm currently working for the township in the capacity of code enforcement, and I do that. I'm doing the same procedure you're describing here. I go and talk to the individuals, try and work something out. The ultimate goal is compliance, and if we can do it with Normal negotiations, that's great. If that can't, if that doesn't settle the situation, then I'll write a ticket.
Yeah, one of the things we found in the past with Sam, he'd find the people didn't know how to get rid of them. Back in the probably 90s, early 90s, mid 90s, there was a period of time in there where cars were sitting all over the place. And I'm talking the ones without wheels and stuff. No, not yours.
Yes, mine.
Well, I wasn't. Anyway, and the biggest thing was they didn't have titles for them or nothing, so they couldn't get rid of them. So we put a program together where we took it, we got it so they didn't have to have titles. We had special forms that we got from the state of Michigan, and well, they've discontinued that now. Now we went to a new program, and it's a lot more aggressive, and it's a lot more pain in the tail feathers to work with, because it's so hard to get paperwork. But that was the biggest thing. They didn't know how to do it. And once they got it explained to them what they had to do, they were happy to do it, because they wanted it out of their yard, junk out of their yard, miscellaneous, whatever. They wanted it out as bad as the village wanted it out. So we managed to get them the information either through the police department or through Sam or through us, through the business.
Okay.
So,
See, Nick, I went down to the courthouse.
you start your 3 minutes again. I'm just kidding.
I go under a different name.
Oh.
No, I had a bunch of old cars that were complete. There was nothing, no cars laying around off them, no busted windows on them, whatever. I even went down to the courthouse because I like old cars. I had old cars. And I got a assumed name, Ken's Classic Cars. Didn't make any difference. I still had to get rid of them, either that or put them all inside of my house, because that was the whole business.
I remember that. I remember that.
I do too. I had to get rid of all them cars. I took a loss on all of them too.
But in most cases, they were always discussion carried on to resolve the situation. And hopefully, I'm sure it'll probably work the same way. But mostly it was always by complaint is when they. Anything else?
I've been at a few of the township meetings where Scott's addressed issues, and he seems like a very tactful person.
Okay.
Oh, yeah?
He's not.
Okay.
He doesn't go in there with guns blazing, I guess, but he uses tact to try to get things done.
Good,
He's
good
back
to
up.
hear.
We got you. We got APD back up.
Thank you.
We've never had anybody behave that bad.
If there's nothing further, how about a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Do I hear support?
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.